Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So today you have a very special speaker, His Grace Mukundananda Prabhu. Mukundananda Prabhu is from a place called Barshi, Maharashtra. Correct? So when I met him in his college days, at that time he was Makarand Ukare. He was a topper in his department. Very brilliant boy. Very early days, 95, 96, he came to Krishna consciousness in Bharatiya Vidyapith College. Very intelligent student. When he would come to class, he will ask many questions. And after the class is over, he is the one who will lead everybody to discussions, spiritual discussions. And super enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. From day one, with whatever momentum he picked up Krishna consciousness, same momentum is going on and on. In a many more multiplied in many ways. So later on, after his studies, graduating with distinction, he took on to the profession of teaching now. He is a teacher in a college, professor. Along with that, he has a very strong taste for missionary activities. In those days, when I had prepared the book called as Essence of Bhagavad Gita, in English, he got it all translated into Marathi and Hindi with a big group of devotees, 25-30 devotees. He's a very good coordinator of services. And you must have seen a Hindi book called as Gita Prabodhini, the same Essence of Bhagavad Gita translated into Hindi and Marathi language. So he helped me publish that book. And also he is a very vigorous youth preacher as well as a congregation preacher also. There is a Leaf Society here where he and our Amal Kirtan Prabhu, they are all preaching and developing new congregation. We have a wing of our temple called as Sanjeevani, which is currently spearheaded by Rasamrita Gaur Prabhu and a team of devotees. And he gives the greatest inspiration for the whole team of 50 to 100 preachers in Pune, congregation preachers. So Mukundananda Prabhu regularly takes meetings for them and reads their reports and finds out ways and means to keep it going in a very powerful manner. And he is a very great motivator. Also, as a GDO, Global Duty Officer, I've been going to America and coming, you all know, in 2019 I started. One special assignment was given to me on making quiz on all the Prabhupada's books. Like Sundar Shampu has made some quizzes, you must have seen that. So now they wanted plenty of questions like that for all the books of Prabhupada. So I had requested Mukundananda Prabhu to lead that project, and he had a big team of devotees all over the country. Then Achyuta Mohan Prabhu gave some of his boys from Varanasi also, some from Pune and other parts of India. So with a big team of devotees, they completed the project and that is submitted to the GBC. Now very soon there will be a website where you can find questions on all Prabhupada books. And it will be like you answer a question, if you said it wrong, then it will tell you what is wrong, and then what is correct, everything will tell you. It's going to happen now very soon. So he has been very instrumental in getting that project accomplished also. And also he started in Pune a sport. Many of you may think, what sport is it, cricket or football? The sport he started, Srila Prabhupada Online Reading Team. So he is the first one to coin that term. So in Pune, he made a policy. 2 programs he was taking, one for the children and one for the grown-ups. For the grown-ups, the sport program, where 20 minutes every day, he has been reading a Prabhupada's book, beginning with small book, then medium book, bigger book. Now in the last 3-4 years, he has completed all the books. All Prabhupada books, and then Bhagavad Gita. Now they will go to Bhagavatam after that. So one thing with Mukundananda Prabhu, if he takes something, he will not give up. He will continue it on and on and on. Similarly, for the smaller children, he started the chanting of the Vishnu Sahasranamam, teaching them, and also shlokas from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, recitation. So many children joined. So that was 20 minutes, and this reading of Prabhupada books another 20 minutes every day, the night and the morning. So he's been doing very steadily last several years. So taking inspiration from his style of reading Prabhupada book regularly, many other councillors also started in Pune. I heard Tulasi Prabhu has a reading also. Shankar Pandit Prabhu has a reading like that. Many other devotees also. And the reading has become a very good habit now in Pune. And many of them are, congregation are enjoying this because they don't get to read the Prabhupada books on their own. Life is super busy. But this reading time is fixed, so people join. And once they read the books, they get enlightened, they become very satisfied also in life. So he has personally witnessed it by conducting those classes. And when it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, he's a very eloquent speaker. We have heard him speak on Narsimha Leela in the past. He has spoken on Chitra Ketu past times. So the past I have heard him speak. Because he is very nicely, deeply learned, his speech is also very eloquent. You will see that today, and is very, very enthusiastic. So let us welcome Mukundananda Prabhu. Hare Bol! Hare Bol! Mukundananda Prabhu ki?
This is the Lakshan of an expert coach. He will tell what I should be doing by what I am doing. Okay, so this is exactly what I should be doing. We'll try to do. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ ಗೋವಿಂದ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ಗೋವಿಂದ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ ಗೋವಿಂದ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣ ಗೋವಿಂದ ಜಯ ಜಯ ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದ್ 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 ಜಯ ಜಯ ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದ್ जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नीताय गौर हरि बोल काय गौर प्रेमानंदे श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16, Text 32. So before we begin, very hearty welcome to all of you here to Pune, devotees from many places, and there are many senior devotees also here. I would like blessings from all the devotees and all of you, so that we can speak on this very beautiful subject of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very beautiful verse. सौत्तमश्लोकपदाब्जविष्टरम् प्रेमाश्रुलेशैरुपमेहयन्मुहुः प्रेमोपरुद्धा अखिलवर्णनिर्गमो नैवाशकत्तं प्रसमीडुतं चिरम् सौत्तमश्लोकपदाब्जविष्टरम् प्रेमाश्रुलेशैरुपमेहयन्मुहुः प्रेमोपरुद्धा अखिलवर्णनिर्गमो नैवाशकत्तं प्रशमीडितुं चिरम् सौत्तमश्लोकपदाब्जविष्टरम् प्रेमाश्रुलेशैरुपमेहयन्मुहुः प्रेमोपरुद्धाखिलवर्णनिर्गमो नैवाशकत्तं प्रसमीडितुं प्रचिरम्। प्रभु जी सौत्तम श्लोकपदाब्जविष्टरम् प्रेमाश्रुलेशैर्मुहुः प्रेमोपरुद्धाखिलवर्णनिर्गमो नैवाशकत्तं प्रशमीडितुं चिरम् स उत्तमश्लोकपदाब्जविष्टरम् प्रेमाश्रुलेशैरुपमेहयन्मुहुः प्रेमोपरुद्धाखिलवर्णनिर्गमो नैवाशकत्तं प्रशमीडितुं चिरम् स उत्तमश्लोकपदाब्जविष्टरम् प्रेमाश्रुलेशैरुपमेहयन्मुहुः प्रेमोपरुद्धाखिलवर्णनिर्गमो अशकत्तं प्रशमीडितुं माताजी स उत्तमश्लोकपदाब्जविष्टरम् प्रेमाश्रुलेशैरुपमेहयन्मुहुः प्रेमोपरुद्धाखिलवर्णनिर्गमो नैवाशकत्तं प्रशमीडितुं चिरम्. Word for word translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Saha, he, Uttama Shloka of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Padabja of the lotus feet, Vishtaram, the resting place, Prema Shru of tears of pure love, Leshaihi, by drops, Upamehayan, moistening, Muhuhu, again and again, Premo Paruddha, choked with love, Akhila, all, Varana, of the letters, Nirgamaha, the coming out, Na, not, Iva, indeed, Asaktaha, was able, Tam, unto him, Prasamiditum, to offer prayers, Chiram, for a long time. Translation. With tears of love and affection, Chitra Ketu repeatedly moistened the resting place of Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Because his voice was choked in ecstasy, for a considerable time he was unable to utter any of the letters of the alphabets to offer the Lord suitable prayers. Purport. All the letters of the alphabets and the words constructed by those letters are meant for offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maharaj Chitra Ketu had the opportunity to offer prayers to the Lord by composing nice verses from the letters of the alphabet, but because of his ecstasy, for a considerable time he could not join those letters to offer prayers to the Lord. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Idam hi pumsah tapasas shrutasya va Svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichutortha kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarananam. If one has scientific, philosophical, political, economic or any other abilities and wants perfection in his knowledge, he should offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by composing first-class poetry or engaging his talents in the service of the Lord. Chitraketu wanted to do this, but he was unable because of loving ecstasy. Therefore, he had to wait for a considerable time before he could offer prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitina Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jakalpa Tarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So a very beautiful shloka from the 6th canto, 16th chapter. And here we see ecstasy of Maharaj Chitra Ketu, unable to offer prayers. And Srila Prabhupada gives a very beautiful purport here. So we are at the 6th canto. And as we know that Srimad Bhagavatam describes the 10 subject matters. Bhagavad Gita describes how many subject matters? 5. Okay. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. Bhagavad Gita has how many shlokas? How many chapters? Bhagavatam has how many shlokas? 18,000 shlokas. Okay. And how many chapters? 12 chapters? 335. Okay. So these numbers are like, if you want to buy a new SIM, you can have these numbers. 335 ending with. Okay, so 335 chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam describes about how many subject matters? 10 subject matters. Okay, so this is the shloka, 2nd canto. We'll just recite it. Sri Shuka Uvacha Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanamutayah Manvantare Shanukatha Nirodho Muktirashrayah. So the canto 6 precisely talks about Uti. Uti is the Poshanam. And the 6th canto, majorly there are 4 pastimes. First 3 chapters talks about escaping the hell. Then there is story of Prajapati Daksha. And then there is pastime of Indra and Vritrasur. And C stands for Chitra Ketu. So His Holiness S.B. Keshav Swami Maharaj, he has a very beautiful acronyms. So this is from him, epic. So canto 6 stands for epic. Okay, there are 4 sections of this canto 6. And we are at the final section of this 6th canto, which is talking about Uti, Poshanam of the Lord. How the Lord maintains his devotees. And we are at chapter 16, where very dramatic story of Maharaj Chitra Ketu. Maharaj Chitra Ketu, he was Karodpati, right? And everything just going great. Everything going great. Just one thing there was a problem. And what was the problem? He had no child. Rest, everything was nice. Okay. Everything was nice. Just one subject he got little less marks and he was like very morose. So morose. Angira Muni came and Angira Muni, he could immediately sense that there is dissatisfaction in Maharaj Chitra Ketu. And he said, what to do, Muni Angira? He was very frank and open. Okay, this is something great quality of the devotees. They are very open to their seniors or superiors. Like we say, Vedavyas, little bit morose, Narad Muni came, Vedavyas very open, yeah, I am feeling morose. Okay. And then Angira Muni awarded him a child, said, keep the name Harsha Shoka, we'll give you Harsha and Shoka, and disappeared before giving the purport. Only the translation. And now the son, because the son was awarded by Krutadyuti, she was called as a Sreshta and Jeshta wife of Maharaj Chitraketu. He became overly affectionate to Krutadyuti and the child, and all other queens were neglected. And they plotted, they killed the child, and Maharaj Chitraketu, the more we enjoy in the happiness, equally or greater we suffer in misery. He was so happy to receive the child, but when the child was lost, entire happiness turned into misery. Just like recent World Cup. Right? Everybody has a realization. One after another, all 10 matches in a row, one team won the match. Okay, we'll not take the names. Okay. Just the final match they lost. Total score, highest. Number of matches won and lost, highest matches won. Only the final lost. So this is how precisely the material world is designed. Material world is designed to give dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So the child is dead, and when the child is dead, he was feeling such misery. And he was unable to walk, falling, tripping, forgetting completely himself. Finally he reaches, and there comes Angira Muni. And Angira Muni has come with now the senior brahmachari. Okay. Who is he? Narad Muni. And Narad Muni, Angira Muni knows that, it needs a higher dose of, the preaching now here. And then Narad Muni comes there, and Narad Muni makes his dead son alive. He gives the Upadesh, and then makes this child speak the same Upadesh. And it was so dramatic. It is said that if you want to make teaching very effective, it has to be experiential teaching. It has to come with experience. Right? When the teaching is only chalk and board teaching, it is very boring. But when you involve people, the characters within the teaching, it becomes very, very exciting. And Narad Muni, being the expert preacher, he made whom to speak? The dead son. He began to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, 2nd canto. And then the child's, and then he began to speak to Chitraketu Maharaj. CM is the Chitraketu Maharaj. And the child's funeral rites were performed. The queens, other queens, when they saw this entire thing, they realized that these two people are like Trikaldarshi. Before they tell who poisoned, let us we only reveal. Okay. Maybe that was not the mood, but they also felt great shame that they poisoned the child. And they atoned. And then Narada Muni, the next verses, Narada Muni's instructions to Maharaj Chitraketu. And Chitraketu Maharaj followed these instructions, Bhajana Kriya, and attained the darshan of the Lord. So we are at this text 32. Chitraketu Maharaj receiving darshan of the Lord, Sakshat Lord Sankarshana in front of him. Now later, Chitraketu Maharaj will be offering prayers to Lord Sankarshan, and then Lord's reply to Maharaj Chitraketu, very elaborate reply. 16 verses of reply. One more reason for 16 rounds. Okay. So this is where we are. Okay. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, we are Canto 6. In Canto 6, we are chapter 16, and within chapter 16, we are at text 32. And the purport Srila Prabhupada writes, very beautiful purport. So what has happened is, after the Lord appeared, with tears of love and affection, Chitraketu repeatedly moistened the resting place of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Because his voice was choked in ecstasy, for a considerable time he was unable to utter any of the letters of the alphabets to offer to the Lord suitable prayers. So suddenly, Chitraketu Maharaj, he saw the Supreme Lord in front of him, and then he was just stunned in ecstasy. With love and affection, he was unable to speak. For a prolonged period of time, for a considerable period of time, Chitraketu Maharaj was overwhelmed with ecstasy, and he was unable to connect the two Varanas together, because to offer the prayers, you have to connect we have to connect I together. He was unable to do that, and Srila Prabhupada writes a very beautiful purport. Prabhupada writes, how all the alphabets are meant for the Lord's glorification. And then one should utilize one's talents in the service of the Lord, and how Maharaj Chitraketu was overwhelmed with ecstasy upon having darshan of the Supreme Lord. So the process of devotional service is beautifully summarized in this pastime. We come with a material baggage. We come with a suffering. You see the bag there? Okay, we have some baggage, we come with a baggage. And then we receive the instructions from the spiritual master. So spiritual master means both, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, to whom we are following. Receives the instructions of the spiritual masters, and then we get the results. And here we see exactly happening the same thing. Chitra Maharaj suffering so much, then he's having the baggage, and then he surrenders to Narada Muni, Angira Muni, follows their instructions, and within 7 days, by instructions of Narada Muni, Maharaj Chitraketu gets the result. And what is that result? The result is complete stunning, the direct audience with the Supreme Lord. So modern times, there is a trend, how it started and how it's going. Okay, people just want to know how you started, how you started your story. Look at the story. One is from Gita, another is from Bhagavat. How it started? Complete shoka, moha, bhaya. And how it's going? The direct darshan of the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also the same thing. The Arjuna, he's saying, Veputascha sharire me, romaharshascha jayate, gandivam samstrate hastat. The primary warrior on whom the entire war is depending on. Correct? He is shaking his hand, he is unable to hold. Gandiva is slipping, not the arrow is coming out, Gandiva is slipping from. This is how it started, Gita. And how it is concluding? Nashtamoha smritir labdva. So this is the benefit of following the bona fide process. From suffering to surrender. If you see the colors there, suffering is red, surrender is saffron. Okay, what I mean. We have another session, GSNS, in the later part of the day. But so here Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example that yaya sammohito jiva. That when the living entity comes to the material world, is sammohita, completely bewildered. The Lord has two kinds of a Shakti there. Avaranatmika, Prakshekatmika. And then when the living entity is completely bewildered, he's tried to enjoy the material happiness, but material happiness is not going to give him any kind of satisfaction. In fact, when a living entity, Bhagavatam explains, when he's glancing upon something, he's actually looking for the glance of the Supreme Lord. Because he has tested that. Sometimes, you taste a very nice pizza somewhere. And, in front of that pizza, or whatever you like, you try to taste all other pizza, but it's like, nothing tastes like that pizza. So because the living entity has experience of the Supreme Lord, he wants to have the same experience in the material world out of some moha, and therefore every glance he's putting across is not satisfying. Every taste he wants to taste, not satisfying. Every touch, every smell, sound, reading, composition, everything the living entity is actually looking for Krishna. But because the living entity is out of water, Prabhupada gives the example of fish out of water. Very famous example, right? Here you see fish. And the fish comes out of water, and the fish can try so many different things. Fish can open a Facebook account, can post on Twitter, can make anything the fish can do. Will the fish be happy? One thing will make fish happy. What is that? Yeah, just jump inside water. Except doing that, the fish is doing everything else. And therefore, there is a continuous suffering for the living entity. If you want some more closer view of the fish. Okay, here it is. Okay. Look at this fish now. Okay, very tightly under the grip and gasping for, that real fish out of water. You can see, chordo saying. Right. So similarly, the living entity is becoming fish now. Okay. So this is the living entity becoming like a fish. And actually the living entity is looking for Krishna. Many times, when we become devotee, people say, sometimes even relatives also say, our life just doesn't become very monotonous. Always Krishna, 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 Krishna. And then in the afternoon, Krishna, 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 Krishna. In the evening, Krishna, 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 Krishna. Don't you have life than Krishna? But now when we become devotee, we realize there is such a life. Correct? We have Krishna Prasad, Krishna Bhakta, Krishna Katha, Krishna Upadesh, Krishna dancing, Krishna feasting, so in so many different variety within Krishna. So the living and the fish may think that water is very boring. Only water, H2O. But that is actually the elixir. That is what is the nectar for the fish. And for the want of the water, this living entity may try so many different things in the material world, but what will happen is, only and only it will lead to suffering. Right? So this is the condition of living entity. And then comes the process. The process of devotional service is again and again explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So here we see the process of devotional service explained by Kapila Muni to his mother Devahuti. So we'll recite this verse. Mad guna shruti matrena mai sarva guhashaye manogate ravichinna yatha gangamba sambudhau lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya urdharitam ahaituki vyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. Later verses, this is the 3rd canto, 29th chapter, 11 and 12 verse. Later in the verses, from 15 to 18, the Lord summarizes the 10 steps of devotional service. A devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious when performed without material profit. This is the first step. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities. A devotee should regularly see my deities in the temple, touch my lotus feet, and offer paraphernalia and prayer. So this is Krishna personally narrating to his own mother, right? What the devotee should do, very clearly described in Srimad Bhagavatam, none other than the Supreme Lord himself. So sometimes people have this idea whether the deity worship is bona fide, how to worship deity, what is the process of devotional service. Everything is very precisely explained in Amala Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam. Then the 4th step. He should see everything in the spirit of renunciation, from the mode of goodness, and see every living entity as spiritual. The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with the persons who are his equals. Right? So you have so many equal devotees. Right? All his activities should be executed under the regulation and with the control of the senses. A devotee should always try to hear about the spiritual matters and should always utilize his time in chanting the holy name of the Lord. His behavior should always be straightforward and simple. Although he is not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of the persons who are not spiritually advanced. So this is the summary of the process that our Kapila Muni is describing to his own mother, Devahuti. And the same process, is again, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, that what we have to do is, we have to engage all our activities in the service of the Supreme Lord. So this is how Rupa Goswami defined devotional service and Yukta Vairagya precisely. We'll recite this verse. Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjatah nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. Srila Prabhupada writes, one has to engage all one's activities in the service of the Supreme Lord. All one's activities. Later we'll see what all activities. One's scientific activities, one's philosophical activities, one's trading economical activities, all one's activities. Engaging everything. So everything is actually meant for the service of the Lord. Like one day Srila Prabhupada, he was giving a class and one hippie asked him a question. And he said that, Swamiji, why this world is created? And Srila Prabhupada said, for enjoyment. And he was very happy. And then he said, not yours, Krishna's enjoyment. So all material and spiritual subject, material and spiritual energy is created for enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. And when we cooperate with that enjoyment, we also enjoy that enjoyment. So Prabhupada here writes, all the composition, A, I, K, K, G, G, all the compositions and all the letters, all the shabda coming from that composition is actually meant to glorify the Supreme Lord. And that's why you see that, whenever there is a demon who is speaking very harshly to Krishna. Like we see that, Hiranyaksha speaking very harshly to Supreme Lord Varahadev. And there is a Saraswati meaning. What is the Saraswati meaning? Saraswati meaning means the Sanskrit language is so composed that you cannot give gali to Krishna. Say anything. Like, there is another example of Indra. He's talking the, what is the verse? Vachalam, Balisham, Stabdam, Agyam. He's saying different words to Krishna, small Krishna. And then Acharyas gives the Saraswati meaning that how Vachalam means this, Balisham means everybody looks like Balish in front of Krishna. Stabdam means when Krishna gives the appearance, everybody is stunned. One who makes everybody stunned is Stabdam. So the Sanskrit is so composed that you cannot criticize Supreme Lord. Not only that, it is composed in such a way that you end up speaking nothing but the names of the Supreme Lord. This is how it is composed. Like one day, not just Sanskrit, in fact all the languages. One day Prabhupada, he was sitting and Prabhupada just asked one devotee. He said, "What's your name?" And he said, "My name is this." His name was directly something related to God. And Prabhupada said, "Oh, that is God's name." It's, "What's your name?" And he said, "My name is Stephen." And then he said, "What is the meaning of Stephen?" And he said that Stephen means smaller than small. That is Krishna. So Prabhupada was saying, that is Krishna, smaller than smallest. Krishna is bigger than biggest and smaller than small. So the entire composition is meant for glories of the Supreme Lord. Just imagine, all that we are talking. In fact, if you read Vishnu Sahasranam, you will realize that most of your friends' names are actually Krishna's names. Uttama, Vidhana, this, that, all names are literally everything, actually refers directly or at best indirectly towards the Supreme Lord Krishna. This is about the Varna. And then there is composition. In the first canto, there is a beautiful section where Devarshi Narada, Devadattam Imam Veena, he is being awarded the Veena. This is 1.6.32. There, Srila Prabhupada writes, actually the instrument is meant for pleasure of the Lord, and all the swara there, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, all of them are meant for exclusively glorifying the Supreme Lord. Now just imagine if you remove music and composition from your life, is there a life? Nothing. So everything is actually meant for glorification of the Supreme Lord. One of our devotee friend, he is into classical music. And he said, "Prabhuji, this modern filmy idea of filmy music is very recent creation. Classical music, 99% of the classical music is all about the dancing god, Radha and Krishna. Or, Shiva Tandava. It has to do only with the spirituality. Right? That's where the Bharatnatyam is. That's where the Kathaka is. Kathaka is, actually the dance which was performed during Katha is called as a Kathaka. Right? The Bharatnatyam is, Bharat Muni also composed this so that they can, right? We have many Bharatnatyam dancers also here. They can better explain the emotions with the dance. So the dance, katha, singing, dancing, composition, everything is actually meant for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, Prabhupada says, one should engage one's talent in the devotional service. So this is the crux of process of devotional service. One has to engage one's talent. Of course, we will see what is the direct process of devotional service and what are the results of that devotional service. But one has to engage one's scientific knowledge in the service of the Lord. One is a scientist. Prabhupada, we had this Bhaktivedanta Institute, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. And the real pleasure when they have, like we are devotees, we are preaching, youth, we are preaching to boys. What is our real pleasure? Real pleasure is when, you shift somebody from hostel to voice. Seriously, I mean, that's where you feel, satisfied. Janma Safalya, Apna 6th session, one time, everything has become safal. This boy is being saved. Like that. Bhaktivedanta Institute, their real pleasure is when the Nobel laureate sits on Vyasasana and sings Jaya Radha Madhava, or he is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is their real pleasure. This is Bhaktivedanta Institute. So this is how one can engage one's scientific knowledge in the service of the Supreme Lord. Then there is, Prabhupada writes about the political knowledge. If you see Mahaprabhu, the major associates of Mahaprabhu, most prominent associates of Mahaprabhu, they were all politicians. Now when you say the word politician, there is a little negative connotation to that. Politician, pata hai kya hai? Dasyu Rajakulesu cha. Bhagavatam also confirms for Kali Yuga, it's going to be different. But if you see the prominent personalities associated with Lord Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were all politicians. Here we see Maharaj Prataparudra, he was a king. And then we see Rupa Goswami, he was a prime minister. And then you see, the Sanatana Goswami, he was a home minister. And then you see Raghunath Das Goswami, he was the chief finance minister. Means he was not a minister, but he came from such a rich family, they were like 1,000 times Elon Musk. I mean, to just give you the parlance. They were like the biggest big in India those times. And in fact, India, these are not some, the feeble stories or kind of thing. These are documented facts that many of the British London roads, they are constructed by the loan taken from the Marwadi families from Kolkata, India. Okay. So they were, they were such big personalities. They were politicians. Of course, they did not do politics in the devotee association, but they were the politicians. And then there is artistry. We see here example of Arjuna. Extreme warrior. There is no limit to the glories of Arjuna. In fact, the Pandavas, they are so glorious. Such warrior that Arjuna used to fight with both the hands. Savyasachin. You fight with one hand. And sometimes you become tired, right? Like sometimes you have some theoretical paper, you write. Baad mein, you become so tired writing. And then the topper, what he does, he's also tired, but he starts writing with left hand. Arjuna was like that, Savyasachin. He could fight with both the hands equally. It's not that right hand is fighting and left hand, the arrow just goes and hits his own horses. No. Equal dexterity. Okay, ambidextrous. Both the arrows are just... And you see Arjuna's wars, tremendous wars. In fact, it is said that therefore, yatra yogeshwaro Krishna, tatra partha dhanurdhara. We don't have to be best, but we have to be best whatever to our capacity. Right? This is very important. It's not that a devotee means, sab chalta hai Prabhu ji, Bhagavan dekh lenge. Mare Krishna, Rakhe Krishna. Not like that. Not in this connotation. Right? So, Arjuna, it is said, some of the wars of Arjuna, very famous wars. There is Virata war. Then Virata Yuddha. When Arjuna came, there is a Kirata war also, Kirita Yuddha, when Lord Shiva and Arjuna, they are fighting. In the Virata, what happened is that somehow one day, Duryodhan became so frustrated. He was just finding Agyatavas, trying to, but Pandavas were just hidden. And it's very difficult for such powerful people to hide. Small people like us, we can hide anywhere. But Pandavas, if you take the sun and hide the sun, can you hide the sun? How can you hide the sun? So the Pandavas to be hidden was very difficult. So one day he just approached Bhishma Pitama and he said, where will be Pandavas? And as soon as Bhishma heard Pandavas, he was in such ecstasy. He said that, find the place which is abundant with fruits and flowers. Find the place where the king is so peaceful that he is having the, what you call modern day MOUs with other kingdoms. The treaties with other kingdoms. Find the place where cows are extremely happy and deities are dancing in the temple. And actually Duryodhana was taking notes. Find the place. Forgetting that actually Bhishma is glorifying Pandavas. And this is what exactly happening. And they just decided which is that place. And they said that is one place, that is Matsya Desh. And that is Virat. So Duryodhana had a plan. So Duryodhana, he wanted to attack on the Virat and steal their cows. And then he ordered Drona, Bhishma, Karna, Dushasan, all the mighty warriors, they joined the ranks. And there, we see, that all, and simultaneously another king also attacked them. So Pandavas went for that defense. And when the Kurus attacked, then Arjuna, he went there. So Arjuna went there with Uttara here, very famous pastime this is. Arjuna is Brihannala there. Because Arjuna was so chivalrous that it was very difficult to hide Arjuna. Therefore he was given a shap that you will become a eunuch and then somehow you will be hidden. That Kshatra Tej of Arjuna was so powerful. And then Uttara, we know that. Uttara, he could not stand. Uttar, he could not stand the mighty army of the Kurus. But the glory of Uttar is, although he was not a warrior, he said, my dear Arjuna, I can become your charioteer, chariot driver. I may not be warrior, but I can become your chariot driver. Many times, we stop Uttara's pastime there only. You know that, Balisha Bahu, Bayakata Badabadala. We have in Marathi, there is a song like this. That he was just clapping inside inner quarters, Antapur. But Uttar, when he realized that he cannot be a warrior, he said, I am not a preacher. Okay, I will be frontliner. I will go to the hostel, get people, let preacher preach. It's not that I am not a preacher. Prabhuji, I cannot preach. No problem. If you cannot preach, you can be engaged otherwise, which is more important duty actually. One day I remember Raisham Prabhu, he approached one of our preaching program and he said, how to give the injection of compassion to people? And different moods. So I said, Prabhuji, what happened? He said that nobody is going out and preaching. This is such a big college, your hostel is so nearby, so hundreds of students can come. And of course, the way he is, if hundreds come, he'll say thousands can come. Okay. Nobody is preaching here. He said, sometimes I feel that, just wear pant and shirt and go hostel to hostel and preach like that and get here people for program. Hari bol. So then, if we cannot preach, no problem. We become the frontliners. You go to people and get them to preacher. That was the glory of Uttar. He went to people. He said that I cannot fight this war. I will become charioteer. He said, I am not a warrior, but I am expert chariot driver. Mind you, you are driving chariot of Arjuna. It is not, some rickshaw you are driving. Of course, rickshaw driving is also glorious. But it is not like that. You are driving the chariot of Arjuna. And when the opposing army attacks, the first target is not the warrior, the first target is charioteer. Because first you finish him, horses, and then, the charioteer, the warrior just becomes stunned to one place, cannot move, destroy him. Then they will destroy the flag because then the army gets the message that the flag is gone means king is over. So the warrior has to protect his charioteer, horses and the flag. Right? All he has to protect. And here the attacking flanks was Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Bhishmadev, Duryodhan, Dushyasan and Karna. And single-handedly, cutting the big pastime short, then he said that, who are you? He said, I am Arjuna. And Uttar said, Arjun? He's my hero in the life. Tell me his 10 names. And then he began to say, my name is Dhananjaya, Kirita, my name is Falguni. And then he said, take this bow. And Arjuna said, your bow will not stand my strength. He said, I need my own bow. And he said, Gandiva? He said, yes, Gandiva. And he said, where is Gandiva? And then there are, then he said that they are kept on the Shami Vriksha. And he went up, he said that, no, we have heard that there is a ghost living there. He said, no, it's not a ghost. These are our weapons. And, with great difficulty, this mighty warrior, Uttar is a mighty warrior. He got this, all the weapons down. And as soon as he just uncovered the weapons, it has so much of tej. Mahabharata very beautifully explains this. That, the Gada of Bhima. And Arjuna became so excited that, and exactly at that moment, the 1 year was over. Welcome to Mahabharata. Okay. Whose conclusion is Bhagavad Gita. And then Arjuna, he said, this is my brother's Gada and this is Gandiva. And Arjuna was so excited. Arjuna picked up Gandiva and just twanged the bow, string. And with that thunderous sound, okay, suddenly all the horses fell down. There was such terrible wind. And Bhishma said, Arjuna is there. And Drona and our Drona was very happy. He was going to see his own now, the famous disciple, very, very dear disciple. Karna was very envious. Duryodhan, Dushyasan, they were holding on the chariot. And then Arjuna got his shankha. And he just, Arjuna began to blow the shankha. And he told also, he said, Uttar, now I am going to twang the arrow one more time. Hold on to something. He made the horses also wake up. Thoda kajol diya horses ko. And he said that, ek aur hoga dhamaka. And so this is how the Arjuna was the warrior. We cannot go into the war now. There are sufficient wars already going on in the world. So, okay. But when we discuss this war, So this is how one has to engage one artistry in the service of the Supreme Lord. So when we engage our talents, that is the process of devotional service. So generally, we will not at once find our purpose in the life. We have to engage our talent and the purpose will be revealed around the talent. Many times people feel that, Prabhuji, waiting for that vision of the Lord, what He wants me to do. That vision will not come like that only. First, we have to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So we have seen the 10-step process of devotional service. And now we'll see what is the result of that devotional service. So this is the result of devotional service, right? Nashta moha smritir labdhva. And here, Chitra Ketu Maharaj is receiving darshan of, his own Lord, Sankarshana, and getting stunned. So this is, we will come to this. The process of devotional service, Srila Prabhupada, which has given us, is narrated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we know that the devotional services, there are 64 limbs of the process. But these 5 are most important. We'll recite this. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravana Mathura Vasa Shri Murter Shraddhaya Sevana Sakala Sadhana Sreshtha Yei Pancha Anga Krishna Prema Janmayai Pancheralpa Sangha. So Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavata Shravana, Mathura Vas, Shri Murtir, Seva. These are A Pancha Anga. These are the most prominent limbs of devotional service. Krishna Prema Janmayai Panchera Alpa Sangha. By a slight association of these 5 things, can actually arouse Krishna Prem, Bhava Bhakti. Rupa Goswami uses the typical word used here by Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada, is that the feelings of Bhava Bhakti can be generated even in the neophyte devotee who has the slight attachment to these 5 things. Look at the adjectives used. Feeling of Bhava Bhakti can be generated in the life of a neophyte devotee even if he has a slight attachment. So that's when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Swalpa, Alpa Sangha, with little bit of feelingly if we can chant, with love we can chant, it has the potency to create the feelings, at least the initial waves of Bhava Bhakti here. One day Srila Prabhupada was in South Africa. And there, all the devotees, Brahmananda Swami, Giriraj Maharaj, they all went to South Africa tour. And the South Africa tour was a very special tour. So, all the apparently, the South African people were sitting around. So, the first day, the devotees got many Indians there. And they said that, Prabhupada, these are South African. Prabhupada said, these are Indians. These are Indians settled in South Africa. I want South Africans to come here for preaching. So Prabhupada was not just happy with some crowd. Prabhupada wanted the locals to take to Krishna consciousness. Right? How long we will, import leaders from one voice to another voice? Our voice has to become self-sufficient. And then our voice has to generate leaders and provide leaders. Correct? So Prabhupada said, no, I want South Africans. Africans I want. And the next day they just went around and, then they got all the Africans. And the way simple people they are, and the way, they come from a scarcity background that they are, that's how it is. So, that next day when Prabhupada got up, his clothes were put on for the drying. And when Prabhupada's personal servant went to find the clothes were missing. So these people who had come, they had picked up one cloth of Prabhupada. Somebody was taken the topi of Prabhupada, somebody had taken dhoti of Prabhupada, somebody had taken kurta. So when devotee saw in the audience, he saw somebody wearing kurta, somebody wearing dhoti of Prabhupada, that kind of a thing. And devotees were a bit cynical about it. That, aise public ko prachar karna? The people, they were not very excited. And Prabhupada started preaching. And Prabhupada was preaching, and then they started kirtan. And when Prabhupada started kirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Entire crowd went so mad in ecstasy. They were all dancing, chanting, different ways they were dancing. Now also if you see South African devotee, the way they dance, if you try to dance like that, we will be in hospital. So better not to dance like that. But I mean, no, you will realize that even this limb also can move in this direction. That's how they were dancing, different ways. And then as the kirtan went to crescendo, they were crying tears. And devotees were stunned. Devotees were thinking, "Itne saal se apna mala chal raha hai." And we are not crying tears. And how these people are crying tears? And and then Giraj Maharaj asked this question to Prabhupada. He said, "Prabhupada, we are chanting for such a long time, but these people are chanting only, today they chanted and they are all crying tears." And Prabhupada said a phenomenal statement. Prabhupada said, "They may be sinful, but they are not offensive." It's a deep statement. They may be sinful. That's why we can see when we come to Krishna consciousness, the kind of ecstasy that we have. Cloud 9, right? Everybody knows we have become devotee. So a broad smile. Now, you all are smiling so broadly anyways. Right? So why? Because this is the Alpa Sangha. Simply by the slight association of chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. There is a feeling of ecstasy. This is the process. This is what Rupa Goswami writes. Sakala sadhana sreshta yai panchanga Krishna prema janma yai panchera alpasanga. By the slight association of these 5 limbs of devotional service, one can actually have the bhava bhakti feelings. Of course, we are not encouraging any sahajism here. But this is how the process is extremely powerful. Recently, there was a, very beautiful, we don't have, 9:15? 9:15, we have to close? 9:20, okay. So, recently there was one, very, audio was being circulated. And here you see, whether you will see that. The 3 girls, they were, chanting. So they were chanting. So this is not coming up here. And they were chanting one Krishna song. Girls with no devotional background. It is not that they were devotees. Nothing. Normal girls. Normal background they were coming from. One was a Hindu girl. One was a Christian girl. Another was a Muslim girl. This happened in Kerala. And they were digging into that, that show, lively show, Saregama, Little Champ, those kind of shows. They were participating in that. And they were supposed to sing one Krishna song. You can see why this is. This is. Yeah. So just breaks down, unable to, we don't have time to see the whole thing.
അവൾക്ക് സങ്കടം വന്നു സർ.
We'll see.
ചേരുമോടക്കുഴലിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ വീണുറങ്ങുന്നൊരു ശ്രീരാഗമേ നിന്നെ പുൽകിയുണർത്താൻ മറന്നു കണ്ണൻ കൃഷ്ണ 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 കാർമുകിൽ വർണ്ണന്റെ ചുണ്ടിൽ ചേരുമോടക്കുഴലിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിൽ.
So we don't have time to go through entire. So this is, Prabhupada said that because they are offenseless, the japa itself has that potency of chanting the, that award bhava bhakti or the stunning because of this. So they were, the three girls from three different contests, three different cities, singing the same song and just breaking down. And they are from different religions also. Why this is? Because it is natural for the soul to cry for Krishna. You see one, Tilakji here, right? What did he say? Swaraj is my birthright. Similarly, what is the birthright of the living entity? To cry for Krishna. The ecstasy that living entity is looking for is actually the birthright of the living entity. We'll see here, very beautiful. Now Srila Prabhupada's So this is how Srila Prabhupada explains the Mahamantra. And now with this background, please hear very carefully what Srila Prabhupada says about Mahamantra. Speaker. You give the mic. It will work out. Mic there.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is the sublime method for reviving our Krishna consciousness. As living spiritual souls, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities, but due to our association with matter from time immemorial, our consciousness is now polluted by material atmosphere. In this polluted concept of life, we are all trying to exploit the resources of material nature, but actually we are becoming more and more entangled in our complexities. This illusion is called Maya, or hard struggle for existence, for winning over the stringent laws of material nature. This illusory struggle against the material nature can at once be stopped by revival of our Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. This consciousness is the original energy of living entity. When we hear the transcendental vibration, this consciousness is revived, and the process is recommended by authorities for this age. By practical experience also, we can perceive that by chanting this Mahamantra or the great chanting for deliverance, one can at once feel transcendental ecstasy.
One can at once feel transcendental ecstasy, Prabhupada says.
From the spiritual stratum. When one is factually on the plane of spiritual understanding, surpassing the stages of sense, mind and intelligence, one is situated on transcendental plane. This chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is directly enacted from the spiritual platform, surpassing all lower status of consciousness, namely sensual, mental and intellectual. There is no need of understanding the language of the mantra, nor there is any need of mental speculation, nor any intellectual adjustment for chanting this Mahamantra. It springs automatically from the spiritual platform, and as such, anyone can take part in this transcendental sound vibration without any previous qualification and dance in ecstasy. We have seen it practically. Even a child can take part in the chanting, or even a dog can take part in it. The chanting should be heard.
So even a child can take part in chanting, or even a dog can take part in chanting. So this is how, because the child is a soul, dog is also a soul, and that is their birthright. And by application of this process of devotional service, what is the result? The result is one will be stunned by the darshan of the Supreme Lord. This is not, Chitra Ketu Maharaj is in parampara. And the realization also comes in parampara. So we see that his own guru, Narada Muni, when he is, in the previous life as a son of a maid servant, Dasiputra, he followed the process. He had the vision of the Lord, stunned by that vision. And here another disciple of Narada, we see Dhruva Maharaj. He followed the process. He was stunned by the Supreme Lord. So this stunning experience is a birthright of a devotee. Prabhupada writes, right? This is the birthright of a devotee. And that will happen only when we engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. The Lord appears in the Archa Vigraha form, Archa Vigraha. He incarnates. Pratima nahi tumi, Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. And sometimes, in our day-to-day association also, we can see experience, this stunning experience. One day, one family, they came from Hyderabad, not devotee, they were general people. They came from Hyderabad. And they said that, they came to the temple president here. And they said that, when they saw the picture of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, they were so stunned by this picture. They were saying that, ye deities hai kya person hai? My question to you is, who are they, deities or a person? Okay, Pratima nahi tumi, Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. So, and then the devotee told them, yeah, they are person only, but they are deities. He said, they cannot be so beautiful. He said, are you real? Or you are just, nowadays, you can just fake offer anything. And they said, no, real, they are our Pune deities. And they said, no, we have to go and see personally with our eyes that they are the deities. So all the way they traveled from Hyderabad to Pune, looking for this particular corner of Pune, deities, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, and when they saw, they were stunned actually. That, this is the beauty of Radha Vrindavan Chandra Bhagavan ki. I remember one day, this is way back, in 2000, 2001, we had Radha Kunj Bihari temple, and we were just locking the temple in the evening, night. And one, very elderly lady, she had taken darshan, 8:40, darshan was closed, and we were just closing other things and just coming out and locking the door. And she was waiting outside. And she was saying, when we locked the door, she said, "Te ajoba kadi yenar आहेत बाहेर?" When that, the grandpa is going to come out. Then we went inside, couple of devotees. Sundar Chaitanya Prabhu was there, and then we looked around, because you don't want to lock somebody inside, right, for the night time. And then we came out and he said that there is nobody. And then we confidently locked. And he said, no, there is one grandpa sitting inside. Where he is going to come out? And then, we again went inside, and this Mataji also came inside. And then he said, "Hey Azoba, hey." And then she pointed to the deity of Srila Prabhupada. So, and she was saying that when he is going to come out, now sometimes we are so ingrained that they are the deities that we forget to reciprocate with them. But that stunning experience is right there, available. We don't have to wait for the appearance of the Lord. The Lord is already appeared. Where? Here. That Narad, our Kapila Muni, he says this to his mother. Paschanti te me ruchirani ambasanta prasanna vaktra runalochanani rupani divyani varapradani sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Rupani divyani varapradani means the different deities in ISKCON and other deities. Okay, the deities of the Supreme Lord. They are in different forms. Rupani divyani varapradani. They are there to give the same benediction, just as the benediction Chitra Ketu Maharaj is receiving in the direct association of Sankarshana and getting completely stunned. So we'll conclude here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you want to add something, Prabhuji? So what we have seen is, we come with a material baggage, there is a process and there is a definite result to that process. Like Bhagavad Gita says, Bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavam agata. We are not the first one to try this. Bahavo, many in the past have tried and tested this process, and it has come down in the parampara system.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your wonderful class. My question is, as you said that entire composition is meant for glorification of the Krishna. So, but we see that generally we are supposed to not do Prajalpa. So, how one can understand that the Prajalpa is meant for glorification of the Lord?
Very beautiful question, okay. So, Prajalpa on a very higher stage is meant for glorification of the Lord. In fact, these words, Jalpa, Prajalpa, when that Jalpa and Prajalpa is done by, the associates of the Lord, like Radharani or the Gopis, it is directly Krishna Katha. Like, one day, Radharani, Krishna was right there, and another Gopi said to Radharani that, some Brahmara has gone away. And, Madhu. And, the Radharani, she took Madhu as Krishna, and she felt intense separation from Krishna and began to speak out anything. Okay, that is called as Jalpa and Prajalpa. On a very higher level, the Jalpa and Prajalpa is actually the discussion of Krishna. Right? But at our level, we should know what is Prajalpa. What is Prajalpa? There is a very simple rule, our IVF rule, a voice rule. What is RKN? Right? Whatever we speak should be right, kind, and necessary. It should be right. Whatever you should be speaking should be right. Then it should be kind. Correct. It should be kindly told to devotee. Or somebody is telling us, we should receive in that mood of kindness. Prabhuji, aap so rahe ho. So you should receive. Right. So it should be right, it should be kind, and it should be necessary. So when we follow these three rules, sometimes it is right also, kind also, but it is not necessary. It may be beyond my adhikar to tell somebody something. And then we should not. So if we apply these rules, right, kind, necessary, it will cut off most of our Prajalpa. Right? But, so Prajalpa is not material from the spiritual sense, that whenever it is done by, the very advanced devotees, like whatever they speak becomes, the Vedavak, like that it is. Prabhuji, you want to add something, please?
Okay, Hare Krishna. Yes, I will go there. Very, very beautiful class, isn't it? You see, one devotee asked, one man asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, in this world we find anger, greed and lust and so many bad propensities also. Are they also present in Krishna? Envy, isn't it? Hatred and all that. So Prabhupada said, when you look at the sun, there is no shadow. When you look away from the sun, there is shadow. Similarly, he said, if you are unmukh towards Krishna, there is no blemish in Krishna. You can sit. And if you become bahirmukh to Krishna, you see shadow, he said. So therefore, in this world, any bad qualities we see, it is only because we have turned away from Krishna. So in Vrindavan one time, just like the fruit vendor lady went. Similarly, one day some other fruit vendor lady came. She brought this jamun. You all know jamun? Big size jamun she brought. And Krishna was a small boy. He was like 7, 8 years old. So he saw the jamun lady bringing jamun in a basket. So he came running outside the house because in those days there was a barter system. You have to give something and then get that in return. So Krishna looked around. In the neighborhood house, one gopi was drawing a rangoli on the ground. So Krishna ran to her and took out her bangle from her hand. And then came to his house and gave it to the jamun lady and then got 2 palmful of jamun and went inside the house. So that girl got up and she was wondering how this fellow removed a bangle from my hand without my permission. So when this gopi went for bathing that day, she told her other gopi friends that, do you know what happened today morning? Krishna heard the jamun sound and then he is just taking out my bangle and he gave the bangle away. He didn't ask me permission. He didn't even look at me, he just took it and ran away. So then the other gopi said, how is it? How can he take away from you without asking? We will complain to Yashoda, she was telling. Some another gopi said, you complain to your mother, they said. And one gopi said, I wish Krishna took it from my hand. She said. So they were all doing prajalpa, but the central subject matter of the prajalpa was, that is called transcendental prajalpa. One day I was in Chopari temple, my spiritual master, I was just standing and taking darshan. Suddenly one hand came around my neck. I thought, hey, who is putting hand around my neck? And just next to me was standing my spiritual master. He put like this. And then I was a little uneasy. And then he told us, see Radhesham, look at the altar. Our altar is very special, he said. We have cows, we have calves, we have deers. And we also have 2 monkeys. So in the Chopati Radha Gopinath temple altar, there are 2 monkeys. And Maharaj said, did you observe them? They both appear to be talking something to each other. And I observed. That's the first time I observed more carefully. And then Maharaj asked me, do you know what they are talking? I said, Maharaj, that you only have to say. And then Maharaj said, they are doing transcendental prajalpa. That is the first time I heard this word. Because I thought prajalpa is a bad thing. Then I asked Maharaj, what is this transcendental prajalpa? I heard prajalpa is a bad thing. He said, now any talk about Krishna and his devotees is transcendental prajalpa. Like they are talking about, these two are talking about Radha and Krishna. One is glorifying Radha and his qualities. Another one is saying Krishna is better. So he is glorifying Krishna. You heard about the 2 parrots, what are their names? Shuka and Sari. They are also doing prajalpa in Vrindavan, but their prajalpa is all about Krishna. So in this way, if Krishna is the central subject, the long-wounded talk, even the chastisement of gopis about Krishna complaining to Yashoda, elderly gopis. And it appears like prajalpa because generally ladies come in the morning after husband goes to office and all, they talk about what did you cook today, what items you made. And somebody tells about their child and all that. But in Vrindavan, if they do prajalpa with other ladies, it's all about whom? That's what it is spiritual. So it was a beautiful. So how did Mukundananda know about voice and everything, you may be wondering. That's one thing I forgot to tell you. Mukundananda Prabhu himself stayed in a center like that, voice center, one of the first voice centers in Pune. And he was very active in preaching and bringing voice and everything. Later on, in Sehagad College, Sehagad Institute of Technology, we had up the hill one college. In that college, because it was up the hill, it was difficult for us to go up and bring the boys down, and it was far away also. It's like 1 or 2 kilometers down. How will the boys come for the programs? So he suggested an idea. He knew one Mr. Chauhan. He said, I'll talk to him. He has got a land up the hill. So he personally cultivated him and got that piece of land for making a room. And he took up that project himself. He got it constructed. He made the lockers. And he brought the boys and he even gave programs. And then Krishna Kishore Prabhu also started going. Balagovind Prabhu started going. But Mukundananda Prabhu was actually the main person in the project. Brajabasi Prabhu later on, Brajabasi Prabhu, Sundar Chaitanya Prabhu, they all came from that. So they were also preaching that. But Mukundananda Prabhu has a great hand in the very early day development of that voice. Now that voice is called as Giri Govardhan Dham voice. But many people don't know the secret. Why did I give the name GGD? Because it is on the top of the hill. That's why I gave. And that is only known to Mukundananda Prabhu. So, of course, now it is not on the hill. It is down now. Still we call it GGD only now. Now our Amsha Prabhu is in charge for that. Amsha Prabhu, Kadam Kanan Prabhu, Subhapriya Prabhu and all of them. And they are doing it. Now it's one of the best centers in Pune. And they got one award also once for crossing 60 inmates. If any voice crosses 60, they get award. So that voice has got award in the past also. Even now they may have 30, 40 people. So in this way, Mukundananda Prabhu has a great hand in the youth preaching also, which I forgot to tell in the beginning, so I'm sorry. I should have introduced it in the beginning itself. Mukundananda Prabhu ki Srila Prabhupada ki. So if you want to personally ask him questions, you can catch him. Now he's available somewhat.
Hare, Hare.